think when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? This is the Combat Connection, and we are live on the Cageside Press social media platforms. Joining me, as always, is Eddie Law, and we have a massive show for you today. UFC 316 recap, a look into the PFL World Tournament semifinals, and then we're also going to discuss UFC Atlanta coming up this weekend. Eddie, let's get right into it. We had a massive pay-per-view from Newark, New Jersey last weekend. Merab Dvalishvili retains his title, beating Sean O'Malley for the second time.
Wild, expected, fully expected, but wild, right? That it happened the way it did. Like, because I didn't think we were gonna get a finish out of there, and you know, Sean O'Malley looked way better than he did the first time, man. But Merab was just that dude. And hey, Sean said it exactly the way I wanted to say it. Merab's a motherfucker, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry, cutting out there a little bit. I couldn't hear necessarily what you said there at the tail end. What were you saying?
No, I was saying, like, just like Sean O'Malley said, Merab's a motherfucker.
Yeah, dude, he's so talented, and we got to talk about him potentially being the greatest bantamweight of all time. Now, if you go and look at the resume, wins over Jose Aldo, wins over Umar, 2 over O'Malley. I mean, it's going to be really hard to say that Merab Dvalishvili isn't the greatest bantamweight of all time. Obviously, people hold Dominic Cruz in high regard, but I think this was the performance that solidified himself and passed Dominic Cruz as the all-time great of this division. What do you think, Eddie?
No, not yet. Not yet. We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. But even Merab himself will tell you, he was like, oh, you know, Aljamain Sterling, but Dominic Cruz still there. So he's not. We're not there yet, but we're close.
Yeah, and, you know, I thought, listen, he put on a better performance this time than he did last time. A lot of it was made about Sean O'Malley and, you know, him giving up smoking marijuana, giving up partying, things like that. He fought better when he was partying, Eddie. It was really a wild performance. Merab is not a finisher, goes in there and gets the sub with the choke in the third round. I really think this was the best version of Merab that we've ever seen. And right now, Eddie, when you're looking at this weight class at 135 pounds, who do you think can really challenge Merab? I know that they have Corey Sandhagen on the horizon. He's always a tough customer. We can't count Corey out. But is there somebody out there that you really think could dethrone Merab here in the near future?
I like Corey, or I would like Umar back in the rematch with everything he learned, right? The first fight out. I think he could do it too, but I like Corey, man. And I don't know if I'll pick him over Merab in their fight, but I think Corey's got a real good shot. But other than that, Umar, if he learned his lesson.
Now, Merab was talking about he wants to compete and defend the title 2 more times this year. Do you think that's possible?
It's possible, but it's not probable. It's kind of highly unlikely. Not just that his body might not be able to hold up like that because he trains like a psychopath. Yeah. But the UFC is not going to – I don't think the UFC is going to try and book him twice this year.
Yeah, and, you know, we were both on with our prediction last week. We both picked Merab. I thought that it really had a lot to do with the coaching matchup between Tim Welch and Ray Longo and Matt Serra and those guys over there. I just thought that Merab was going to have a better game plan. And when I go back and look at, you know, the pre-fight camp of O'Malley, he was simulating a real event, doing all of these extraordinary things that I don't see Merab doing. I see him doing the basics. He's in the gym hitting the mitts. He's out there doing the mile work. You know, really takes this as a traditional approach and is just the hardest worker in any room that he goes into. So Merab Dvalishvili, a great win for him in this main event, Eddie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great win and everything. And I'm not a big fan of fighters making big changes. Like, I mean, if you make big changes, you got to be out a little longer than what he was, I think. I don't think you could, you know, I cut the weed out and I cut this out and I cut that out a month or 2 or even weeks before. I think if you make big changes, you got to make them. You got to make them and then stick to them for a while. I think at the same time, I'm with you. I mean, you know, smoking and partying Sean O'Malley did really much better last time than this time. But that might have been Merab too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so congratulations to Merab. I did just see today he went back to Georgia, was welcomed with open arms by the people over there. That was really great to see. But moving along down the card, we have a loaded show for you guys today. We're going to get to everything in the mixed martial arts world. Credit to Merab here, but in the co-main event, Kayla Harrison comes over from the PFL and makes a statement submitting Juliana Pena with a Kimura. Eddie, this was 5 seconds left in the second round, came out of nowhere, snatched that arm, and Juliana almost immediately tapped. Goes to show you the physical strength of Kayla Harrison in this women's 135-pound division. And this sets up one of the biggest, if not the biggest, women's fight of all time against Amanda Nunes. And we all know the backstory there. with them used to train together, and Kayla being that up and comer, and Amanda feeling pushed out. So this is going to be a big one.
It's going to be a big fight. I think the biggest loser out of this one, though, was Don Davis. You know he was at home with the tweet ready to go if Juliana Pena won. Some snarky, backhanded bullshit that he's been doing that. He acts like a toddler every time. Like it's hard to respect a guy, a grown-ass man that does shit like that because he's done it, twice, 3 times now? It's weird. But past that, we all knew it was going to happen, right? We just didn't know how when it was going to happen, though. Impressive finish. A Kimura finish off the top, like the way that she was. I could no, you couldn't see it from the angle where the camera was. So as soon as she snatched it, everyone was like, holy shit. All that being said, Harrison Nunes is absolutely the biggest fight that you can make in women's MMA right now. And it's going to be huge. A lot of storylines going into it. Nunes was super class act in the cage, right? That wasn't even planned. Class act in the cage and all that. Gave her props, hugged her. I'm sure they're friends. But that's all going to change now. From now that they're going to be set to fight, Nunes is going to get mean. She's going to be the lioness. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to change, and it's going to change drastically because that bad blood story is going to be told by the UFC about her leaving. I believe it was American Top Team, correct?
What's that? Sorry?
The gym that they were at was American Top Team, right?
Yeah. And then Amanda's now opened up her own gym. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my bad. I'm in and out here. It's pretty bad.
You're all right. No. Amanda opened up her own gym after she left ATT.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. So that story is really going to be told on these UFC countdown shows leading up to wherever this card's put. And it's, Eddie, it's classic striker versus grappler. From the beginning of the sport to where it is now, this is a matchup stylistically that fans have really gotten behind. And here's my question for you, Eddie. What version of Amanda are we going to see coming back? Because she has taken that year layoff. She has not been defending the grappling, especially to the level of Kayla Harrison, hasn't been getting the reps in. What do you think she's going to look like when she comes back? Is she going to be a little gun shy with the hands, knowing that the threat of the takedown is there and that she hasn't necessarily been practicing it as much? I'm really interested to see what we get from Amanda Nunes.
Well, we don't know what she's been doing, right? It's not like she's been out, in the fashion shows and shit, like letting us know she's been chilling and hanging out and drinking and eating and whatever.
Yeah.
For all we know, she's been busting her ass. I mean, because look, again, she has her own gym. She's got to run it. So I think she's been training. She's been fine. But you're right. A year away, you never know what version you're going to get. The version we hope we get is the one that was dominant for her UFC run. Do we get her? Who knows, man? Life's been different for her for a year, and now she's coming back. We're going to get surprised, maybe.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this matchup regardless. Now, we got to talk about Juliana Pena here a little bit because I thought this was a little bit of an underwhelming performance. In that first round, she hit Kayla with 2 consecutive up kicks that looked intentional. The referee did take a point away. I like that he took the point away without the warning, especially since she committed 2 fouls back-to-back before he could get in there. I thought that was a pretty good job of officiating by him. But Juliana Pena did not necessarily look that great. She's already on social media talking about how she's going to face the winner of Amanda and Kayla. I think that could be further from the truth, Eddie. What do you make of Juliana and kind of what she's saying right now?
Juliana only gets another title shot if someone falls out. And that's it. And even then, maybe not even then. You can probably throw someone else in there. But Pena having fought both of them now, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them fell out, if she got the spot in there to fight and all that. But I think you got to say that stuff if you're Juliana. This is her brand. She's been doing this forever. When she lost the title the first time around against when Nunes came back and beat her ass, like that was kind of what she did too. And none of us wanted to see it. None of us wanted to see it. Somehow we ended up getting this. We ended up getting her and Rocky. Don't know why still, but whatever. Yeah. Rocky, I argue she won that fight.
I was just about to say, we both had her winning that fight.
Yeah, I thought she won that fight, which I think would have made it, and I hate to say this, it would not have changed the difference. It would not have made a difference against Kayla. Kayla would have messed her up too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Credit to Kayla Harrison and Merab Dvalishvili, both one retaining their title, one becoming a new champion. I think that Kayla Harrison could be the face of women's MMA in the UFC moving forward. So credit to her, especially coming over from the PFL and doing her thing over there. Moving along down the card, Eddie, we had your favorite fighter, Joe Pyfer, taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Joe had a lot to say on fight week as normal, but when he went in there, he did try to take Kelvin's head off in that first round. I think that he might have gassed a little bit, going for those big right hands. He almost hit Kelvin. Well, he knocked him down twice in the first round, right? So he almost got him down or got him out of there. But there were multiple times against the fence where he was literally one shot away from ending this fight in that first round. But he emptied the tank, in my opinion, in that first round, which caused him to have that third round be as close as it was. One judge gave it to Kelvin. I believe one judge did not, gave 30-27 to Joe Pyfer. But Eddie, what did you make of the overall performance from Joe Pyfer? I had a 10-8 first round for him, but it kind of seems like he slows down and the gas tank's not quite where it needs to be. Had the same problem against Jack Hermanson in that first loss that we saw after coming off the Contender Series. What's your opinion on Joe, and do you think the gas tank is the weak part for him right now?
My opinion is that the tacos saved Joe Pyfer from getting his ass whooped in Mexico. Honestly, if this is the version that Joe Piper's going to show up with this kind of cardio after the first round, Kelvin fucks him up. It's over. He's going to get peppered and beat up on the ground. It's going to look silly because Kelvin's way smaller than him, or at least shorter than him. But you know, here, or now I guess in New Jersey and everything, you know, sea level, whatever it is over there, you know, that shitty gas tank was enough to win. It is what it is. And he threw heavy hands. That was fun. He didn't back up off of Kelvin. I don't remember. Did Kelvin shoot on him at all? I can't remember if he did or not.
I don't think he did.
That was stupid. I still think that was dumb as hell. I thought the whole time I was thinking Kelvin should have been shooting like a psychopath and make it boring. Who gives a shit? Make it boring. Beat him up, right? Mm-hmm. Beat him up on the ground. If you're the shorter, you know, shorter in height and in reach and all that guy, you got to put the fight where it's going to be advantageous to you, and it would have been on the ground for him. That being said, Pyfer looked strong as hell for that, dude. He looked good. Overall, skills-wise and everything looked good. Gas tank looked like shit. That's all it was, really. And honestly, I got to give him props. I got to give him props for apologizing apologizing, but also clearing up what he actually meant with his shit. I never thought he was being racist when he said what he said. A lot of people did. I thought he just wanted to make excuses for being an idiot. That's all it was. And again, he said it himself. I think he said he's kind of dumb. I don't know. He's a bitch, something like that. But either way, he said, like, I'm kind of a bitch, something like that is what he said. And the clip's on Instagram. But yeah, dude, either way, a solid win for him. And Kelvin, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Go box, dude. Go be a boxer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's about the end of the road for Kelvin Gastelum. He did make one last push at 170, or he made an attempt to go down to 170 for one fight. Obviously didn't like the weight cut there again. Moves back up to 185 pounds. Didn't go his way. I don't know what's next for Kelvin either. Eddie,
205.
205. He's 5'9".
I know, right? 205. Fuck it.
No kidding. But yeah, for Pyfer, here's the thing with him. He is an immense athlete for this weight class, right? 6'3". He's got muscles popping off. He looks like a Superman or something out there. But it never is the infighting thing with Joe Pyfer that gets under people's skin, right? It's not that he's boring. He's one of the most exciting fighters on the roster, right? Yeah. He can finish fights in one punch. Chokes on the ground as well. We've seen him get submission wins. I actually predicted him to win by submission in this one. That didn't happen, but so he is well faceted wherever this fight goes, moving up the rankings. But what do you think is next for Joe Pyfer? Obviously, if he moves up and faces a Sean Strickland or somebody with a elite gas tank, he's going to struggle in the back half of a fight. Who would you like to see him up against next?
Sean Strickland. I look at this point, like, you put him on a July 4th show if you got something like that. Like, but in terms of him, like, no, he's gotta prove to me that he could beat a guy his size and his length and all that. And not saying that he can't. What I'm saying is this is easy pickings when you're tired. When Kelvin Gastelum, who was leading with his face half the time, easy pop. Like that's what we need from Joe is to show us that you're exciting. We've seen you be exciting. All right, get a psycho finish again. But put him against a Sean Strickland. Put him against did he fight? Who else could we put him against? Shit.
Oh, people are calling Bo Nickel. People are calling for Bo Nickel. I saw online.
Do you? I don't want to see Bo Nickel until he takes the full course of the kids class at the boxing gym down the street from his house.
He needs to fight Torres Finney. That's the fight for Bo Nickel, in my opinion.
Yes. Just first fight on the prelims of the night to get it out of the fucking way. Those two together, 100%. And Torres Finney will win. Can you imagine Torres Finney beats Bo Nickel?
That'd be crazy. It'd be crazy.
No, Bo better retire after that.
Yeah,
come on, dude.
You'd have to. But this middleweight division honestly has some of the best up-and-comers around the sport right now. New faces coming up into the 185-pound rankings. But when you look at Joe, there is a title match between Khamzat Chimaev and DDP coming up on the horizon. I don't think that at this stage in his career, he can handle opponents of that caliber yet. So maybe even Joe Pyfer gets slow cooked here and gets thrown to somebody. You know, I know he lost to Jack Hermanson, but maybe he wants to get a win back there against him to prove that was a fluke. I wouldn't hate that, but
I would hate it because Jack Hermanson, he's how do you put it? A marathon runner. He runs away all the time. Doesn't want to engage. Only wants. Again, I get when fighters want to engage on their terms. Totally understand that. But when you're dog shit boring doing it, come on, dude. What the fuck? And real quick, shout out my boy Phil. What's up? Coming got something for Dirty Boxing? Yes. Or BKFC, dude. Either one, dude. Hey man, BKFC for sure.
That'd be nasty.
Phil, my boy Phil, Combat Sports Today. Hit him up on all the socials, man. They're good peoples. But yeah, dude, that'd be dude, BKFC, Kelvin Gastelum. God damn, that'd be fun. And he could be a heavyweight because all those guys are short.
Yeah, having a little bit of technical difficulties here. 1 sec.
Yeah,
all right, I'm back. Yeah, so Joe Pyfer got the unanimous decision win over Kelvin Gastelum. Great win for him. For Kelvin, maybe the end of the road. Maybe we see him in a Legends matchup in the future, but different directions in each of the careers of these 185-pound fighters. Moving it down the card here, we got to talk about it, Eddie. This might take a minute. Patchy Mix made his debut unsuccessfully against Mario Batista. You know, he talked a lot coming into this one. But Eddie, I hate to say this. I think some of the criticism online is warranted to the fact that we've never seen Patchy look like this, right? Did the lights get to him? Do you think everybody has nerves, right? Everybody, regardless of what you do in life. When I can't imagine getting to that UFC, they call it the UFC jitters. I think that he just wasn't necessarily had been in that situation before. And I was talking to a photographer here in the PFL today, Matt Davies, who does.
Hey, say hi to him for me. That's my brother, dude. Say what's up.
I will. He said and he made a good point to me when I was talking to him. He said that Patchy Mix probably had more people at ceremonial weigh-ins than he's ever had at one of his fights in Bellator or the PFL. And I think that's a pretty valid point.
I think it was that, but I don't know about you, and I haven't looked into this at all. But physically, did he look the same to you when he moved? Because he didn't to me. I think he came in beat up and injured, personally.
I'm sorry, you said physically did he look the same?
Yeah, right. Because I don't think he did. I think not like visibly, but I mean when he was moving, he looked different. I personally think he was injured. I'm not going to put that out there because I don't know if that's true or not. But to me, he seemed compromised already because there was no movement. He moved more than that than that usually. Took a lot of shots, and but also I think it's a whole package, man. The whole thing. Lights got to him too.
Yeah, and so he does his best work on the ground, right?
Yeah.
We knew this was going to be a hard stylistic matchup.
Yeah.
Mario's as tough as they come. He's a wrestler. He's a hard guy to take down. He actually takes guys down. Does he have the jiu-jitsu and grappling of Patchy? Not necessarily. But Patchy doesn't get to show his best facet of his tool set because he can't get the fight to the ground, right? So then it becomes a striking matchup between two grapplers. And obviously Mario Batista's boxing was a little bit better than Patchy Mix's on fight night. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I thought it was, one, a tough matchup, two, the biggest moment of his career. But we've seen this with other guys. Before we move on, we've seen Anthony Pettis. He struggled against Clay Guida in his debut. And then we also saw Eddie Alvarez, who eventually won a title in the promotion, struggle in his debut against Donald Cerrone. So it has happened in the past.
It's unfair to say Patchy sucks because anyone that says Patchy sucks didn't watch his fights in PFL or Bellator, or in Bellator because he never fought for PFL. But they never watched his fights in Bellator. So I think it was a shitty debut for sure. And I don't fucking Phil beat me to it. Worse.
Will
I don't
Brooks.
think it was the worst. Will Brooks was pretty bad. Will Brooks was really bad.
Yeah, I think Will Brooks had a 3-fight losing streak and just bounced, right?
He bailed out. He didn't have anything. I think he had a really. I don't know. Did he fight? I can't remember if he had like a fight where he had a nasty foul. I guess either he fouled somebody, or someone fouled him, and it was like controversial as shit. But I can't remember what it was. Now Will Brooks. I talked to Will Brooks before. I remember that now. Damn, you bringing back memories. But no, I mean it was a really bad debut. But you're right. He did win his debut against Ross Pearson. He did.
That's just like when I think of Will Brooks. he's always the guy that was the first guy when I was watching the sport that people were like, oh, if he goes over to the UFC, he's going to be a big deal. And then he came over to the UFC and it just didn't pan out for whatever reason. So I hope that doesn't happen with Patchy Mix, but that was just the first person in mind. I didn't have Brooks's record in front of me. But
let me say, I got Brooks's record. So Brooks in the UFC, let's see what he got. Alex, so he beat, Ross Pearson, Ultimate Fighter finale, and then loses to Alex Oliveira, loses to Charles Oliveira, loses to Nick Lentz. Okay, that makes sense. He fought 3 bad motherfuckers in a row. Damn. Yeah, all right. Oh, dude, he also beat Michael Chandler twice.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. When he came over, he had some big wins. Some of the biggest wins ever in Bellator.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question if it's the worst one. But either way, it's pretty bad. But no, dude, I'm not worried about Patchy at all. I think he'll be back strong. Give him a good matchup. Someone that's not in the top 5, and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that he's got his best days still in front of him, and he'll bounce back well. Yeah. He is resilient and has shown that throughout his career. But, Eddie, someone I am worried about is Vicente Luque. And in the next matchup on the card, Kevin Holland got this one done by submission, was able to get Luque to the ground there, and got a choke himself. Kevin Holland is always dangerous with those long arm chokes on the ground, being 6'3" at 170 pounds. He can really snatch up necks well. What did you think of Kevin Holland's performance? I'll tell you what, Eddie, I didn't put too much stock in it. I thought that Luque's in the back 9 of his career. Obviously, he's a great fighter. The win over Vicente Luque is something that Kevin Holland can hang his hat on. But do I think that it's necessarily the same win quality as when he beat Joaquin Buckley earlier in 170 pounds? I don't. But when you look at Kevin Holland up the rankings here, I think he does match up well with a lot of guys at welterweight, but there also are matchup nightmares for him outside the top 15 still, like Renat Fakhretdinov and other good grapplers, over there from Russia in that style of Sambo as well. So what do you think about Kevin Holland's chances here? Do you think they throw him to a guy like Renat Fakhretdinov to get him beat before he moves up and gets his second push? Or do you think they try and really get behind Kevin Holland as a promotion this time so he can have a legitimate title push of his own?
I hate to say it this way. Vicente Luque's done. What I saw in this fight was him show that he's got very little left, if anything at all. And it's not the shit on Vicente Luque, but you remember Luque's had some fucking wars. Yeah. Luque put some dudes down where you were just like, there's no way he doesn't get a title shot at some point. Kevin Holland is Cowboy 2.0. Just here to get paid, here to get the checks. He's gonna wait till he's on like you said, the back 9. So he's on the back 9 to be like, okay, now I want to fight for the title like Cowboy did, right? Cowboy did the same thing. And it's gonna be too little, too late. So Kevin is not. They're not gonna give him a push. He's just a fun guy to throw in there and all that. And unless he keeps going and getting big wins and everything, I don't see him ever getting a title shot. I won't be mad if he does though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad either. But that's the thing though. You look at the top of this division. You got Buckley up there now in the top 5. He got put out by Holland. And if those guys fought again, I'm not so sure the same thing wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So there's a lot of good fun matchups there for Kevin Holland. I thought that he put on a really great performance over Vicente Luque. Not necessarily, a reborn version of himself. I'm not on a scale of 1 to 10 for what he can do in the rest of his career, but a great win for Kevin. And I think he does look better at 170 pounds than what we've seen him at 185.
100%.
A guy who's been all over the headlines is Joshua Van. Earns a knockout win last weekend versus Bruno Silva. And Eddie, I believe he's already rebooked. Isn't that right? He's filling in on about 2 weeks' notice.
He gets oh shit, my brain just blanked out. Phil, who did he get?
Oh, Joshua. He just filled in and got.
Why is my brain blanking out so fucking?
We put an article out about it.
We did. I just can't remember. Jay wrote it, so that's why I don't remember. But let me see. Brandon Royval. God damn, why can't I remember that? Brandon Royval. So Manel Kape injured. Manel Kape, I've heard this week described as a pull-out merchant now. And if you look at his record,
of the leg kicks going around, though, did you see that?
Yeah, I can't tell exactly what happened. Like, he kicked the leg, and he's like maybe over, too much contact on the same spot or whatever it is, but he got fucked up. So, but Brandon Royval put the video out himself on his Instagram, and he was just like, "Well, guys, Manel Kape's out." We're like, "What?" He's like, and I think Joshua Van's in, and I'm like, "Yes!" Like Joshua Van's very quickly becoming everybody's favorite bantamweight, flyweight, whatever he is.
125
flyweight. He's becoming because he wants to fight Brandon Moreno. Dude, he beats Brandon Royval. Don't even have to fight Brandon Moreno. he's gonna take Brandon Royval's shine if he beats him. It's gonna be nuts. Royval's hittable, and he's that's gonna be a really good fight, dude. I'm super pumped for that.
I am too. Eddie, one thing that does concern me is what you just said. If he beats Royval, it's off to the races. He might get a title shot, right? We just saw that in this division with Steve Erceg, who's now struggling. To me, 125 pounds is the wild, wild west right now. You go on have 3 good performances at 125 pounds, you're liable to be knocking on the door of a title shot. So Joshua Van goes in there and does what he did last weekend. I think you're right. I think he gets the title shot, but I just don't want to see him get pushed too early like some of the people we've seen in the past, especially at this weight class with Steve, who we just recently saw last year, in my opinion, get pushed a little bit too early.
Yeah, Steve definitely got too much of a push, right? And that came off the title shot against Brandon Moreno and not Brandon Moreno. He fought Pantoja.
Pantoja almost beat him that 5th round. Remember, he had that takedown that got reversed and lost by a round.
Yeah. So we thought after that, like, oh, he's got it. But sometimes, dude, all these guys leave something in the cage after they fight, whether it's physical or mental, and it feels like Steve did both. Joshua has a different, in my opinion, because Steve Erceg's very much like, oh, just a howdy do, just chilling, doing his thing. Joshua Van, to me, seems like a guy that's like very respectful, very clean cut and everything. But in the gym, I guarantee you, he's a dog.
Oh, yeah.
In the cage, he's a dog. But I guarantee you, outside of like interviews and shit, this dude's fucking rough. He's a tough dude. So if he gets, if he beat Royval and got in there close to a title shot and all that, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. But I think even if he loses the title shot, like, I think he'd be all right. I think he'd be, because he's what, 23? He's a young kid. He's a kid.
Yeah, young kid.
He's a kid.
And that's an interesting point. Maybe he can handle it a little bit better than Steve did with the loss too, because he has lost previously.
Right.
My thing is, Eddie, he did lose to Charles Johnson, I believe, last year or the year before, right? And he did get finished in that fight. That was a bad one. Now, Charles Johnson, I believe, tripped up after that fight, but the activity of Joshua Van has pushed him back into contention. But are you worried that when he gets to the top echelon, he's going to have another one of these Charles Johnson moments?
No. I mean, there's 4 in a row: Chairez, Durden, Saruya, Bruno Silva, and 2 or 3 of those were short notice. He's all right. He's good. I think. I'm not concerned at all.
I think so too. And he was a huge favorite last week. Even with Kayla Harrison being 7.5 to 1, he was like right on her tail, almost the biggest on the card.
It was pretty cool. It was cool to see. I'm just happy for him, dude, because that guy, he's such a cool guy. He's a nice dude, and he's a fan favorite. Like, his style is fan friendly. I'm excited to see what he does, man, honestly.
All right, 2 more fights we got to break down quick, fight fans, before we move off UFC 316. Azamat Murzakanov. This guy, Eddie, stays undefeated, killer, knockouts all over the place, gets it done again against Bredson Ribeiro. We both called this one by knockout. This guy's an absolute savage. He reminds me, I saw this online, maybe you said it. He was like a baby Fedor. He's not necessarily as good like that, but he's one of these guys that you see on the street and you'd be like, that guy's a fighter, but then when he gets in there, he's got knockout power. He's got the technique, both on the ground and standing. This guy really seems to be the full package. What is your opinion, and how far do you think he can go up the rankings? I think of all the people on the main card, he's probably got the best, or I'm sorry, on the prelims, he's probably got the best opportunity to get into the top 5 or into title contention here pretty quick. I'm
going to tell you this. I'm going to put it this way, okay, because it's really easy to explain it this way. This is, it's great. I'm happy for him. Great. Undefeated 15-0, and he's finishing dudes. Is great. This tells me everything I need to know about our trash ass light heavyweight division in the UFC. Trash ass. When a 36-year-old dude that looks like he just dropped off his kids over at the kindergarten, right? And he's heading off to his shift at the steel mill. When that guy is the most exciting prospect in your fucking 205 division, my guy, what are we doing?
And they put Oberg on ice for months.
Forever. So it's like, this is just, to me, is more an indication of what the 205 division is in the UFC than what he could possibly do. Do I think he'll get a title shot? Not even close. Do I think he'll put up some more good performances? Absolutely. But the UFC does not want an old dude being, I hate to say, because 36 is not old, but like an old in fight years dude as champion. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. No, they're 100% going to throw him through the ringer. He's going to have to do the
yeah.
Bilal Muhammad, Tyrone Woodley. He's going to have to win 8 fights to get there, right?
Yep.
And nobody's going to be paying at a pay-per-view to fight or to see Azmat versus Magomed Ankalaev, especially in America. But that is a good fight on paper. Here's the thing. I think obviously skills pay the bill, right? And he's skilled on the feet. He's skilled on the ground. I don't really necessarily know who's going to beat him until he gets into that top 5 and fights a Rakic or Prohaska or Khalil Roundtree or somebody like that. The next guy I'd like to see him fight, Eddie, Volkan Oezdemir.
I'm not mad at that. That's a good one. That's a good call. Yeah, let's do that. Do that on a fight night main event. Have fun with it.
Yeah, Volkan's got one punch power. He's got good power. Maybe if Volkan hurts him, he could take the fight to the ground. There's a lot of different ways that thing could go. I think that's probably the next matchup I personally would like to see.
I hope they do it as a main event in a city. So all you assholes that get mad about Apex cards, can you shut the fuck up when you realize you paid $300 for a ticket to an AA card? Enjoy that. Enjoy that, UFC Nashville. Fucking clowns always complaining about the Apex.
That'd be better than Taliesin Teixeira versus Derek Lewis.
Have fun, UFC Nashville. Enjoy that matchup. It's so awesome. I'm gonna pay $500 for this shit.
Straight up.
Oh boy.
Great win by Azmat. Moving on the card here, though, Eddie, there was one robbery. There seems to be about one fight on each card that is highly debated. I had this one going to Spivak. I didn't know how this went to Acosta. Acosta was running backwards. He was doing the salsa dance, but he was getting hit. And Spivak was putting him up against the cage, putting big leather on him, threw a nasty elbow there in the 3rd round, too. I had this fight for Spivak, 29-28. The 30-27 scorecard on here is criminal to me almost.
Dude, this Waldo looked like me on hour 2 of a Shark Tank, okay? Just fucking don't want to be there and just doing the littlest possible, just exhausted, fucking beat up, and somehow got the goddamn nod. Spivak got robbed so bad. And I'm sitting there going like, and it was funny because, the diaper guy, Trump was there. I call him the diaper guy. Sorry, but Trump was there. And I'm just like, look, man, there's every time we need your executive fucking order right now. Executive order that Waldo lost his shit because that was terrible. That was so bad, dude. That being said, inconsequential for
heavyweight.
All that being said, inconsequential for the heavyweight division. No one cares.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of these bad decisions recently are at heavyweight. You see that Volkov win over Cyril Gane. That was criminal too. I couldn't. Me and my friends were trying to decide which one was worse between Volkov and Spivak this weekend. But it sucks that both these international guys both kind of get screwed over in the heavyweight division. And fight fans, I think Spivak's a good contender. He's not even 30 years old yet. He is massive in size. He's good on the ground. And honestly, in the last fight we just saw with Waldo, he looked better on the feet than I've ever seen him look. Waldo is a striker. He's actually a professional baseball player that's just a better athlete than these guys coming over here. But I thought that Spivak looked better on the feet than he did. He didn't outland him, but those shots that Waldo was getting counted for as significant strikes, those were a lot of jabs and leg kicks, in my opinion.
They were, and Waldo looked tired. He looked slow, but it's heavyweight MMA, dude. Like, again, I miss the days of the Cain Velasquez's, of the Randy Couture's, of the Brock Lesnar's. Like, straight up, because to me, and this is gonna sound weird. It's gonna sound weird. 205 and under, down, skill based. Heavyweight, to me, just who's the toughest motherfucker out here. That's all it is to me. I think in heavyweight, you don't have to be that skilled. You just have to be tough bastard that hits like a truck.
Yeah, it's an athletic and toughness competition.
Right. That's why Tom Aspinall is so fucking impossible to beat at heavyweight, because he moves like a fucking middleweight. When you get a unicorn like that, that's hard to beat. You get a unicorn like John Jones, hard to beat at any weight, right? But outside of that, Waldo, Spivak, Sergey Pavlovich hits like a truck. Alexander Volkov, taller than shit, nice jab. All those guys, nothing really skill-wise special about any of them.
Yeah, you're right. They're big guys. They're not necessarily as skilled. But to your point, what you were just saying about yesteryear's heavyweight division, you don't even have to go back to the top of the spear with Velasquez, with Lesnar, with Couture. Look at the guys who are in the middle of the pack. I think you determine the division by your contenders, by who you have in slots 5 through 15. Back in the day, we had Mark Hunt, Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, Brendan Shaw, all these dudes who were really, really decent. Ben Rothwell, and these guys had skills. Ben Rothwell in his prime would be like a top 3 guy right now.
Outside of Brendan Shaw, I agree with everything else.
Yeah. I just threw him in there because he fought Rothwell and Nelson, but he was coming up from that crop, and he did beat Crow Cop.
Yeah.
He did have some good fights. He choked out Matt Mitrione as well. He beat these guys, Eddie. He would beat the shit out of Waldo or Costa, in my opinion.
Sure. Now Matt Mitrione, the meathead, another guy was tough as hell. Why was Cain Velasquez so hard to beat? Skilled. Why was Brock Lesnar so hard to beat? Giant. You get what I'm saying? Why was Randy Couture so successful at 205 and heavyweight when he's not a heavyweight?
Skilled as they come. Yep.
Skilled. If you're skilled at heavyweight, you're a killer, and you got the heavyweight body. If you otherwise, just be a tough bastard. You can get the shit done. And Walter Cortez is a tough bastard, but he didn't win this fight.
No, I don't think so either. But moving up the rankings, Waldo Cortez Acosta will face stiffer competition, and we will see how he does next time out. That ends our coverage of UFC 316 from last weekend. I thought it was a great pay-per-view, Eddie. Before we move on, let's give it a card rating like we normally do. I like this card. I'm going to give it an 8. I think it was about an 8.
I'll go with 8. I think besides some of Joshua Van, Kayla Harrison, Marab, there was good performance on this card, and overall, at the end of the night, I felt like I wasn't bored at all. I was like, damn, that was fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Taekwon Kim, we got to talk about him real quick. That left hook knockout. Boom, right in the prelims. That was nasty.
Sniper shot. Sniper. Dude, it looked not exactly, but it reminded me so much of the Jose Aldo knockout, because he just slid back just a tiny bit and crack. And Jekka just hits the ground as game. I'm like, woo, that was nasty. Now, can you do that again? Can you do that again? No, I don't think so. But because everyone's gonna be watching out for it. But if he does, I would love to be wrong. I would fucking love to be wrong, because this is the most exciting, one of the most exciting dudes. And where's he from? Is he Korean?
Yeah, South Korean. He calls himself Little Zombie.
Little Zombie.
Korean Zombie had a lot to do with bringing him to the. I think he actually fought in his promotion.
Yeah, he did. Give me one more performance similar-ish to that. Even if you don't finish him in 20 seconds, but you have knock somebody out, put him out impressively. For the love of God, UFC South Korea, take this guy there. Okay, the UFC needs stars overall, but international stars get you in the places. Get that motherfucker in there. Goddamn, let's go.
Yeah, they can use all the Asian stars they could get, whether it's China,
for real,
Japan, all over. And we're seeing an influx of fighters from that area of the world as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC does book a card there, like you're alluding to, in the near future.
And get that one girl that's a doctor. That head kick knocked out that one chick, and she was like, I'm just kind of concerned about my opponent. I'm like, holy shit, that's the nicest little killer I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was a vicious knockout too.
Ooh, she was nasty, 100%.
But Eddie, some of the biggest news from this card came afterwards at the UFC press conference. Dana White spoke with the media for the first time in 2 months, and we had Dylan Napoleon from Cageside Press there, along with other people there from the MMA media space, doing a good job, in my opinion, making Dana White stick to his answers here, holding him to the fire, asking him about Turki Al-Sheikh, asking him about John Jones. But he really didn't have any answers for us, Eddie. He came in there with I'm clueless. I've been vacationing, or I've been working. What have you been working on? You're the president of the UFC. You haven't been here in 2 months. You need to answer these questions about what's going on with John Jones. And if you come up and say, I haven't heard about any of this, that's conversation, in my opinion.
So the thing with Dana White is I think he played dumb. I think he knows exactly what's going on. I think Dana's tired of getting quoted. I think he's just, look, before this card, right? We've all been talking about, is he done? Is he trying to find his way out? And a lot of people have made the point, I think, yourself and myself included, was no, he's not going to leave before his TV deal's done, right? So I think Dana had to make an appearance. So that's why he came in and basically gave a no comment for pretty much every question. It was a nothing burger. He gave nothing, right? So, all he did was assure that he is the promoter for Canelo Crawford. That he said, I don't know, John Jones is John Jones. But the one thing he did say that was So months ago, he was like, this fight's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. It's going to be the biggest heavyweight fight in UFC history. Great. And then on Saturday, he was like, I'm going to do my best to make it happen. And I'm sitting there going the fuck you mean your best? Call Lorenzo Fertitta, get him back here. He'll make that shit happen easy. But what do you mean try your best? Does that mean that we might not get it?
I could go off on this. Listen, Mick Maynard, Hunter Campbell, all these guys who now have executive roles after Lorenzo left, I don't know if they can book any fight. You get John Jones there, and the rumor is that they're offering him $30 million. When Hunter Campbell offers him $30 million, John Jones in his mind goes, I'm not even talking to the boss man yet. I can get 45. You know what I'm saying? It's when you're talking to those guys, you don't ever think it's the end of the line in the discussion, especially when you're John Jones, right? When you're John Jones or you're Conor McGregor, you want to be talking to Dana White. You're not going to sit here and like, oh, I'm negotiating my contract with this guy who wasn't even here when I started. I don't know. I don't think that, in my opinion, I think that the moniker of we give the fans the fights they want to see isn't necessarily true since Lorenzo left. And
it hasn't been, right? Since Lorenzo left, like Joe Silva leaves, Lorenzo sells his shares, and his brother shares his shares. Now they're off. I think one of the other Fertitta brothers owns the Rockets or some shit. But yeah, it's been different. And I remember when that happened, when Endeavor, right, the move to Endeavor happened, the sale and all that, the first sale, or the only sale really. When that happened, I remember thinking like, this will never be the same. This is gonna, and we're all wondering what's gonna happen. Is it gonna be better? Is it gonna be worse? I argue it's been worse, right? Talent-wise, too many events, everything's watered down. We get to the point where Dana doesn't want to go to pressers and shit, which used to be his thing. And you wonder, like, well, what's the next step? Because we're about to get another change soon, I'm sure. With the broadcast deal coming, something's going to change there too, right? And so, yeah, dude, I miss the Fertitta-owned UFC, the Zuffa days. I miss those. And at this point, we're not really getting the fights people want to see because the money holds it up. Now, if you offer John Jones $30 million, he doesn't take it. I think he's negotiating at that point. But yeah, dude, I think Fertitta will come in and be like, "What you want? 10 more million? All right, cool, fun." Just like you said, bet, dude, sign it. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
He gets shit done, or at least did. Like when he was there, Anderson Silva took a fight with Daniel Cormier on literally like 12 hours notice.
Showed up.
Was that like a day's notice at most?
John Jones tested positive for roids, and first of all, the UFC played this fucking beautifully for those embedded clips, right?
Oh, where they had Daniel Cormier stomping on the ground.
They showed Dana telling Daniel Cormier, you lost an opponent, blah blah, and then they showed Daniel Cormier in bed going like, oh, I got an opponent. Oh shit, I got an opponent. And the next clip is Anderson Silva walking into the locker room eating a slice of pizza. I'm like, holy shit. Is Daniel Cormier going to win this fight? Yes. But is he going to get the shit scared out of him? Yes. Oh, my God. I was so hyped for that, dude. I was just irritated because that was UFC 200. And that was, like, it was supposed to be Jones, DC. Like, dude, the production around the entire thing, the commercials, the fucking cold open, everything was awesome for that. And then John Jones started to be a dickhead and test positive for whatever the fuck it was. And then cry about it like he didn't do it. Like, bitch, come on, man. But either way.
One more thing that Dana was talking about before we move on from Dana's press conference, the potential of Francis Ngannou coming back. Eric Nixick, head coach of Ngannou, came out, I believe it was with MMA Junkie, had an interview and said, we would be open to coming back to the UFC. Well, media picked up on that. They went on Fight Night, talked to Dana White about it. He doesn't seem like he's too warm to that's not going to be a warm welcome back for Francis, let's say. And I don't know if he's necessarily even going to sit down at the negotiation table after what happened with him the first time, Eddie. Were you surprised from the reaction by Dana? I was not surprised at all. Once you kind of burn a bridge with him, it seems to be burnt forever.
No, once you don't do what Dana wants when he wants you to do it, he burns that bridge himself. He doesn't care. He'll light that shit right there. And I think that's what happened with Francis. Now, again, he's come out and said he's not a good guy. I hate to put it this way because I don't know Dana personally, but we've seen enough of him to know his personality, right? It's sour grapes, butthurt that Francis didn't jump. That he told Francis jump and Francis didn't say how high. Like it was just weird, right? Now, my favorite part of when that was brought up, I was like, oh, Don Davis is so mad right now.
I'm going to ask him about it if he shows up to the press conference. It has to be asked. Your top star, someone on your executive team, is saying they want to go back to the UFC. Is it your number one priority to re-sign him? What are we doing here?
Or make him or have him actually fight for the PFL more than one time? Like, what are we doing? Jake Paul hadn't fought not one fucking time. Anyway, I don't want to change the subject, but either way.
If you had to bet your life on it, do you think they've talked to him since he had that accident in Cameroon?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not Don. Somebody from PFL definitely talked to him, but it wasn't Don. Don's kind of clueless when it comes to anything. But and again, I'm not trying to shit on the guy. This is just when we see your resume, we see your body of work, we know what you're doing. Don Davis doesn't know what he's doing, right?
Yeah, I hope they've talked to him at least since that Cameroon incident just to see what his mindset was.
They have
You'd at least want to check on him to make sure he's mentally okay. He's been in the last year and a half personally having a tragic loss in his own life and then being involved in that. I can't imagine what Francis is going through mentally right now.
When Eric's not going to say we're open to it if he's not open to it. That makes me wonder, because you said I hope PFL called him. If Don Davis didn't call Francis Ngannou as soon as he heard about it, something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like something soured over there. Something has soured between PFL and Francis Ngannou. I wonder if Francis will stick around long enough to do PFL Africa and then say, all right, cool, I did my Africa card. Peace.
Eddie, one sec.
Mm-hmm.
Was lagging out here, but I think you answer your own question when you see PFL Africa's first card is headlined by Johnny Eblen and Dakota Ditcheva. How's that happen? The whole plan was for Francis to be the headline when they go to PFL Africa eventually. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way.
They better pay my girl my girl Inaba a bunch of fucking money for taking that fight. That's horse shit. Okay, she has to go all the way to Africa to get her face punched, and that's garbage. But outside of that, yeah, dude, I don't know, man. PFL is kind of a mess, and they have a chance this weekend to start doing something. I just don't believe they won't fuck it up somehow, right? With that Gene, so. Yeah, and you're there for that, so it's pretty cool. We get to see what that Gene does against Jason Jackson.
Yeah, so we're going to get right into it, fight fans. We'll talk about the PFL before we get into UFC Atlanta. Let's get into some predictions this weekend from me and Eddie. In the main event of the PFL Nashville semifinal in this world tournament, we've got former Bellator champion Jason Jackson taking on the undefeated prospect from Florida, the silverback Thad Gene. Thad Gene is an athletic freak of nature, 26 years old, coming up, just knocked out Muhammad Burkamov, former ACA champion over there in the Middle East. This guy's the real deal, but he's facing his first ever former world champion in Jason Jackson, who is one of the most well-rounded fighters we've seen in the history of the sport, has great takedowns, great submissions. We just saw what he did to an elite striker like Andrei Koreshkov, and we've seen him against elite grapplers like Amosov in the past, been able to get the best of them on the feet. But I got to tell you, Eddie, if he can't get that Gene to the ground, he might be running into some problems here.
He might be running problems and everything. And Thad Gene, we seen it when last time out he thunderstruck whatever homeboy's name was, but yeah, dude, he might be in trouble. We can't get him down. And I feel like he won't be able to get him down. I feel like I honestly think Thad's going to be able to put away Jason Jackson. That's the saddest thing I thought about right now. But you're there, right? You went to media day. What about Thad Gene's answers to all those questions? Like, did any of that make you think like, dude, this kid's destined for something, or did you think he's just all smoke?
So, no, I think that he is very confident, right? And you got to be confident. So that gets you in the door. But here's the thing. He talks a lot, right? And he's new to this environment. He's not, just like we talk about Patchy Mix, this kid's never been under the bright lights. This kid's never been in the main event. He's never fought a former world champion. All the questions this weekend are on Thad Gene. Can he answer them? That's the big, that's why we're here. That's why it's a big fight. But when I listen to him talk, I don't know if he's necessarily as sure in himself as what he says, because how can you be that sure in yourself when you've never done it against elite competition? We saw this kind of with Bo Nickel in the middleweight division when he fought Ranier de Ridder, real confident in himself, almost to a fault. I don't know if that's necessarily what we're going to see with that Gene. He is an incredible, incredible athlete. And if he puts his hands on you, if he puts that left hand on you, you're going to go to sleep regardless of who you are.
Yeah, no, Thad Gene. I think Thad Gene has a chance to make so much noise this weekend, dude. Like he could be that another PFL star, and that will give you two big stars. Like Johnny Eblen, good star. He ain't gonna be in the PFL much longer. That's not happening. But Dakota and Thad could lead the PFL into this next whatever they plan to do, if Don doesn't screw it up.
Absolutely. So I've got a clip from you guys on Media Day. Thad Gene, actually said, this is going to be his Jose Aldo Conor McGregor moment. He's going to come in here and make a name for himself, become the big shot of this promotion with a win over Jason Jackson violently on Thursday night. I asked Jason about that. I said, Thad was just in here and he said this was going to be his Jose Aldo moment. Let's listen to Jason's response here on Media Day.
He said that this is going to be his Conor McGregor Jose Aldo moment. What are your thoughts on that? Listen, he's not no Conor McGregor, and definitely not no Jose Aldo. This guy's delusional, because if you think he's gonna be a walk in park, come and just hit me and then boom, it's not gonna happen. Because guess what? I'm ready for everything that he's gonna throw at me.
So that was Jason Jackson. He's confident in himself. He's really relying on that experience. Trains at one of the best teams in the world, Killcliff FC. Obviously, he's training with better sparring partners than Thad Jean is. How do you think Thad Jean's preparing for all those well-rounded skills of Jason Jackson? I don't know how he could see looks. Obviously, Jason can get a guy in there who's athletic and hits hard, right? But how do you get a guy with that championship experience, that well-roundedness, to come into your smaller gym so you can prepare for that? I don't necessarily know if that, had an elite training partner to emulate Jason Jackson.
I doubt it, but he's the kind of kid that's so young and so new that it's like you don't really have a lot of tape on him. I don't think, so I don't know what Jason Jackson studied, but in terms of what he could, like this is a different kind of thing, because we could, everyone goes 1 + 1 = 2, right, on either side, right? But sometimes you got to go gut. You got to go with your gut. Like, I just have a feeling this kid's gonna have something. Like I said, I'm super interested in what he's gonna do. I know he's slightly taller and everything, but his self-belief seems a lot stronger than what Jason Jackson has. It does somewhat remind me of Conor McGregor. So we'll see.
Yeah, self-belief is the word, and he called it faith on fight day.
Yeah.
He talks about his Christian, background. His dad's a pastor, his mom's a nurse. Jason actually alluded to that in some trash talk in the middle of the week. He said, your mom's going to have to stitch you up, and your dad better be praying for you. So some elite trash talk there from Jason Jackson on the streets of Nashville. But Eddie, in this fight, I'm going to have to go with Jason Jackson. I'm going to take him by decision. I think Thad might knock him down in the first round, but Jason is just a tough customer. And if it gets to that second and third round, I think Jason has made a good point at Media Day that this is a muscle-bound guy. This is a very athletic guy, and he's not been dragged into those, muddy waters there late in fights in the second and third round. So I'm going to take Jason Jackson in this one by decision.
I'm going to take Thad Jean by knockout, second round. Hell, even first round. I just believe this kid's got something. He just has something. I can't figure it out, but he has something. Now, my favorite part of Thad Jean's Media Day is what he said. We'll see who my mom has to stitch up. Like, damn, boy, like, yo.
Yeah, gave it back to him.
If Thad Jean knocks out Jason Jackson, I hope Thad's mom comes in and goes up to Jack, like in the cage, goes up to Jackson, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Just to fucking finish it off. It'd be hilarious. But yeah, I got that.
So this is a great fight here from Nashville. Eddie, I think this is the best fight that the PFL's had since that Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes fight.
All that being said, if I was in Nashville, the last thing I do is go to PFL. I'm going to go hit up that music scene they got down there, those crazy bars I've heard about. I want to go to Nashville. I've heard all good things, but I want to go check it out.
Eddie, I was walking downtown. They have live music in a Raising Cane's.
In a Raising Cane's? Well, we're fucking up in Phoenix. Yo, Phoenix, get your shit together, dog. Come on now. Give me a live band at McDonald's, goddammit. But
I was walking out, I was like, is this Raising Cane's? What do they got a band in here for? But yeah, it's pretty cool. But as far as this fight's concerned, it's veteran, well-rounded guy versus a very elite athlete here with big power. That actually says he's a great grappler too. He just hasn't been able to show it. We're gonna see on Fight Night what that grappling looks like. But Eddie's going Thad Jean. I'm going Jason Jackson. Let's move down the card here in PFL Nashville. We've got semifinal matchups across two divisions. In the featherweight division, we have Jesus Pinedo taking on Gabriel Braga for the third time, a trilogy matchup between these two finishers, staples here in the PFL. Jesus Pinedo coming off a knockout win over Adam Boric. Actually finished Gabriel Braga the last time they fought. Braga had a split decision win in their first meeting. Pinedo finished him in the third round by TKO in the second meeting and promises to do the same this weekend. Jesus Pinedo has came in one on weight and two motivated for this tournament, which to me makes him the dark horse and someone who's actually the favorite to win this whole thing. His motivation, obviously, he took a year off last year. So you want to see him come back, ready to get back on the horse. And then the weight cut. That's always really been the problem for him, right? He has had to struggle on the scales more than he's had to struggle in the ring at times. So I think that Jesus Pinedo is going to get a knockout win here and really put a statement on this trilogy and put it behind him. I'm going to go TKO win for Jesus Pinedo in the second round.
The momentum, even though he's been gone for a year, right? Pinedo has, right? He's been gone for a year, right?
Yeah, because he didn't fight last year because it was Loughnane.
Right.
Yeah, Loughnane lost in the final.
Right. So I just think he has everything, dude. That kid's ready to go. His nickname's Mudo, which translates to the mute. He doesn't say anything. That's why he's so trash and not trash, but he's not a great interview. Which reminds me, I got to go transit some shit for Gabriel. Our boy Gabriel Gonzalez, talk to him. I got to go transit some shit right after this. My bad, dog. Double G, my bad, dog. I got to get that done. I had a long ass day today. But either way, dude, I just just overall, man, like everything. I know he's taller, he's longer,
hits a little harder,
and Gabriel Braga just seems to be kind of hesitant half the time. So, I think Pinedo's gonna get a knockout as well.
Yeah,
it's
going to be a war though. This Braga does not go down easy, right? And anything can be said about him. He's a tough customer. And
this is a heated matchup. Like they might not say much, but they don't like each other. So they're going to go in there trying to kill each other. And Braga's going to bring that heat. It's basically going to be like who, like every fight, who implements their game plan and all that. But I think Jesus Pinedo is going to get the last word on this one.
Yeah, so we both got Jesus Pinedo in this one. Trilogy between these guys, going to be a great matchup, potentially fight of the night. Moving down the card here in the welterweight semifinal, this is going to be who takes on the winner of the main event between Thad and Jason Jackson. Logan Storley, also a Kill Cliff product, taking on Kakuri from Japan. Kakuri is massive at this weight class. We just saw the ceremonial weigh-ins. He is much, much bigger than Logan Storley. So I think that's really the biggest thing for him. He's more powerful with his hands. He's a bigger guy. Maybe it's going to be hard to take him down because he's an athletic, bigger guy. He better hope so, though, because Logan Storley possesses some of the best wrestling in all of MMA.
Yeah, no, I think so. Logan, because I was on the virtual and everything, and I'm the one that asked him about Mitch McKee from LFA. But anyway, Logan's got his hands full in this one. Like because I watched some of the why the fuck does PFL do interviews in between weights? That's stupid. Anyway, but Masayuki looked big as shit for 170. I'm like, that's not a 70. That guy's an 85er. That's a big dude. So, but wrestling can mitigate that, right? You can work on it. You can work with that. So, can he get Masayuki down? I don't know. I'm excited to see. Outside of that, I don't think so. Honestly.
This guy's huge. His head is so big. I was looking at his head is massive. It looks like Bigfoot Silva from back in the day.
Dude, fucking Logan's gonna be looking at him like, at least it's a big goddamn target. Fuck.
For real. But the storyline here, Eddie, obviously, is Logan Storley, Jason Jackson. If they both win, Killcliff FC Products kind of is a void there. Robbie Lawler's very close with Logan Storley. I don't necessarily know who the main coach is for Jason Jackson over there. I assume that Robbie's going to go with Logan. Jason will take another coach, and they'll do something internally, kind of like Dustin Poirier, Jorge Masvidal, and Kobe Covington did back in the day with American Top Team. These big gyms seem to be able to work a way around it. They're littered with success, and it's a good problem for the gym, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, outside of that, I call up Amanda Nunes, like, hey, can we use your gym just for like a week or two, like for a little bit? And that's what I would do, because then you're not going to go to ATT.
No,
you're Killcliff, right? So that's what I would do. But no, we're not going to have to worry about that. Honestly, I think one of them lose, if not both of them. But I think one of these guys lose. I don't think we have to worry about that. Now, if devil's advocate, Logan and Jackson both win, yeah, we got a nice little storyline, and it's gonna be weird when they get in there and fight because they're boys. So
yeah, both came from Bellator, both champions in Bellator too. Yeah. So one of the fights here that's underlooked, in my opinion, is Movlid Kabalayev versus Kim here from South Korea. Now, Kim, just like we talked about with Kakuri, is massive for the weight class, right? Taeku Kim. Yeah, I didn't want to butcher the name. I knew I had it somewhere in there, but Taeku Kim here is not. Yeah, he's 11-1, taking on 22-0 Movlid Kabalayev. Kabalayev just got a win over Jeremy Kennedy, trained over there with Abdul-Malik, Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, Khabib, and all those boys in Dagestan. Won the 2021 tournament, had that viral knockout over Damon Jackson with the flying knee that everybody, watches every time that he performs. But Movlid took an extended layoff from after he won that. Didn't necessarily look the greatest against Jeremy Kennedy, but in the second and third round seemed to be able to grease the wheels there and looked back to normal, won the second and third, got the win, moved on in the tournament. But Kim here, look at this, Eddie, 5'11" to 5'6". This is massive.
This is like I played varsity basketball all 4 years of high school. I was 5 in high school. I was like 5'7", 5'8". I'm 5'10" now, but like not much higher. I'm Mexican, folks. I'm not going to be 6 foot. But I was like 5'8", 5'7", maybe. Bro, I started at center for about 12 games because our center got injured. But I was short, stocky, and strong and shit. Yeah, that's about this is about the matchup I had every fucking night. Having to face a 6'2" guy under the basket, having to literally just play football and just shove him out the way, right? Dude, I could just see Kim just popping the jab repeatedly. This dude trying to get into this pop. He's a knee up the middle. We're gonna find out what Mubba has in the store. Mubba's gonna come out looking beat up. If win or lose, he's gonna look all fucked up if the fight goes the way I think it is. But I don't know, it's exciting to do it. When we get this far down on the card, we start seeing kind of not freak show-ish. We start seeing weirdo shit like this fight.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good matchup, an underrated matchup on this card.
It's underrated.
Yeah, for sure. And you're going to want to tune in, fight fans, to see this one. Kabbalaev, in my opinion, is one of the best 145-pound prospects, regardless of promotion. I know what we just saw with Patchy Mix, and it's dangerous to say that for people outside the UFC. But this guy's trained with Islam. He's trained with Khabib. He has been with the top of the spear in this mixed martial arts space, training wherever he's gone. So Movlid is the real deal. He's facing Kim this weekend. It's going to be a great matchup. Winner goes to the final, potentially take on Jesus Pinedo. I'm going to go with Movlid Kabbalaev by decision in this one.
I'm going Kim knockout.
Kim knockout. That'd be a big one. If there's bettors out there and you take Eddie's bet, that is north of 5-1 and would pay you some money.
Y'all better share me some of that fucking money. All right, I better give you all the
drop
tips.
The cash app.
I'm putting cash app on my Twitter tonight.
One more fight that we're going to talk about here on the prelims for the PFL. Two former Bellator standouts, Jeremy Kennedy and Adam Borics. Borics had a tough time out against Jesus Pinedo last time, got finished in about 1:45. Kennedy, in my opinion, was on the short end of a decision that could have gone his way against Kabbalaev. Looked good there in the first round, knocked down the Russian contender in that first round. Jeremy made weight today, was the first one on the scale, looked good. Adam looked good as well. 5'11", striker versus grappler really here, Eddie. Who you got? Adam Borics actually beat Jeremy Kennedy a few years back in their first matchup, so this is a rematch of that first fight from Bellator.
Yeah, I don't see anything changing. I think Adam Borics will handle this pretty good. And I hate it because Jeremy Kennedy is such a good dude. And he's like, he always just seems to just have just a little not to just have this, how do I put it? He just doesn't have enough. He needs about this much more. Right, to be something. He's always seems to be like on the cusp of doing something crazy, and he gets a shitty decision like last time I thought I should have won, and he just gets matchups like this one. It's just like he's got to be like, God damn it, like I get a chance at Borics, but fuck.
He had that fight with Aaron Pico where that shoulder injury happened too, and everybody was like, oh, well, he beat Aaron Pico, but it kind of took a little bit away from the win. So you're right, some weird shit's always happening in the Jeremy Kennedy fights. Yeah.
So that being said, Adam Borics. By whatever decision.
I'm going to take Borics by decision as well, but don't be surprised if Jeremy tries to get the fight to the ground. And if he does, he is dominant when he gets it there.
If Jeremy wins, I'll be the happiest motherfucker ever. I'll be like, hell yeah, boy, let's go. Canada, stand up.
But this is a big, big week for fight fans. We do have a UFC Atlanta card as well. We're going to give you brief predictions on that. I know it's been a long show, but we're going to fly through this thing, and we're going to give you guys some betting analysis and previews on UFC Atlanta coming up, because we have a massive main event here in the welterweight division between former champion Kamaru Usman and upstart contender from St. Louis, Missouri, Joaquin Buckley. Buckley's been calling out everybody in this division, from Ian Gary to the champion to Bilal Muhammad. He gets his first former champion in Kamaru Usman. Is this too much? Is he going to bite off too much too soon, Eddie? I think that Buckley wins this one by knockout. I don't trust the knees of Kamaru Usman. It's been speculated that he's had trouble with the knees and has trouble getting through training camps at times. I'm going to take Joaquin Buckley. He looks so motivated. If Usman can't get this fight to the ground, I think he's taking a nap.
Kamaru Usman has championship experience. He was champion for a long time. Took out Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. Knocked the fuck out of Jorge Masvidal. Put some respect on Kamaru Usman's name. And then give Joaquin Buckley his fucking props when he knocks the shit out of him and makes a step, shoots right up the rankings, right to a title shot. There's no. Kamaru Usman hadn't fought. How long has been? He's been out for like a long ass time since the Hamza fight. And Buckley's been fought 10 times, I think, or something like that in that span. There's some ridiculous number of fights in that span.
Yeah, there's just so much tread on those tires, right? He went through the wars with Covington, went through that war with Hamzat. Some people thought he won that Hamzat fight at middleweight, but he's just been through so many of these different contests that have taken so much out of him. I mentioned the knees. I think that those have really been the contributing factor in what's the damage that's come from a couple of these fights. So, what is the mobility of Usman going to look like? And we've seen it with Covington. When he was just out there with Leon Edwards, what was it hard for him to do when he came back? Shoot the takedowns, get the timing on the takedowns. Is it going to be hard for Usman to get the timing on the takedowns, with the hurt knees, with the extended time away from the cage? He better be on point. He better be crisp in this one because Joaquin Buckley is a finisher, and he has done well historically against grapplers in the past.
Yeah, no, I think Kamaru Usman has this advantage, but at some point, I'm 39 years old. At some point, I'm going to be at the age, maybe 60, 70, 80, where I'm like, all right arm punch, and I don't have fight miles on my body, right? At some point, your body's not going to be responsive to what your brain wants to do. I think this is the first time we're going to see Kamaru Usman look old, look really old, because Buckley's younger, athletic, right? Much more momentum, hungrier. He's got everything else that you need to start making that run for a championship. Now, my question is, what are his hopes in this? Do you think he's going to make
grind out a decision win?
Right. But I mean, not just this fight. Just if you win to try to win it, let's say you win this fight.
Oh, you're talking bigger picture.
You're trying to go get another title shot. I don't know. None of us see that happening. There's a logjam at 170, right? Are you gonna get in the title? No. Are you trying to get super fights up there? I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of anybody that I would want to see you match up against Kamaru. I'm not saying quit. I'm just saying let's get our as fans expectations of Kamaru Usman, dial him down a little bit. I think he's just here to see what he's got left. I think this is a test for Kamaru Usman. And if Buckley makes him look really silly and does something crazy, knock him the fuck out of something, we could see Kamaru Usman retired tomorrow for Saturday night, or that process is going to begin, I think. Because why would you fight? You have all these titles, title defenses you did. You got your podcast, you got other business ventures coming at him. I'm sure he's gonna get back on the but the analyst table. You got a lot to do, Kamaru. You got too much money, bro. You don't have to keep getting in there beat up and getting punched in the face, dude.
That's a great point, Eddie. And this welterweight division is a cruel mother. You look at the two champions before him, look at how they went out. Robbie Lawler and Tyrone Woodley went about on fight skids that were legendary. And those guys took a lot of punishment. Now, what they did before to get to the title and what they did with the championship obviously can't be taken away. But both of those guys just put so much of themselves to defend those titles that once they didn't have the belt anymore, it really took a toll on them. Well, to your point, we might be seeing the beginning of that with Kamaru Usman this weekend. And
honestly, I think it makes sense. And I think Kamaru would tell you that. I think if he was, if you're buddies with him and he was telling you, not promoting himself, he'd be like, yeah, dude, I'm just going to find out what I got left. Because I think do I believe Kamaru thinks he can win this fight? Absolutely. Do I believe he's going to do it? No. I believe he thinks he can win this fight, but he's going to find out whether or not he can. If he beats Buckley, Kamaru Usman's going to be calling for title shot, 100%. Yeah. If he doesn't beat him, which I don't think he will, I think Buckley knocks him out. I think it's going to be one of those damn, I don't have it anymore. Do I want to do this one more time and have a try to go out on a win, or do I just call it tonight and that's it? We'll see.
Yeah, I've got Joaquin Buckley in this one by second round TKO.
I'll take third round knockout for sure. TKO, yeah. But I think there's going to be a couple of rounds of Kamaru. The first round, I think Kamaru is going to do well. The second round, we're going to see what's up. I think the third round, we're going to find out if Buckley, worked on that gas tank and worked on that takedown defense and all that. But because he's stronger than shit. I mean, look at him. He's built like a brick shit house. So
exactly. Bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic, hits harder. But will the grappling be king this weekend? That's the question for Kamaru Usman. Moving down the card here, Eddie, in the co-main event, former champion Rose Namajunas is going to take on. Sorry,
the odds.
Odds.
Plus 225 for Kamaru, minus 278 for Buckley.
Wow. I know he's a former champion. That's kind of odd, but I agree with those. I think that it's about a 3-1 favorite for Buckley.
I'm with it 100%. All right, go ahead.
Rose Namajunas in this one, former champion, falling on a little bit of tough time here after moving up a weight class to the flyweight division for women, taking on Miranda Maverick, who comes into this one at 17-5. She's going to be the bigger girl, in terms of physicality and strength. Can she get Rose to the ground, or will Rose kickbox her to death, use that jab, flick it out there, and use the volume with the leg kicks to get a decision win? Quickly in this one, I'm going to go Rose Namajunas by decision. I think the volume is going to be too much for Miranda Maverick, but I wouldn't be surprised if Miranda kind of, big sistered her, for a lack of a better term. We talk big brother with men, but big sistered her and just kind of took her to the ground, and she was stronger than her, held her up against the fence. I could see that from Miranda Maverick, but I'm going to go with Rose Namajunas. I think she has a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's a good point. Rose screwed herself by never having a real coach and allowing the parasite Pat to teach her. All that aside, everything we know about, Pat.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
Yeah, what's his last name? Whatever.
Pat
Barry. All we know about that, like, who knows? Like, we're at the point where we're kind of done with that because of the fact that they're older now. But it is weird. I'll give you that 100%.
She did have Whitman for a little bit though too, right? So she's had a real coach.
Yeah, but Whitman's a fucking look. I respect all coaches, okay, but he creeps me the fuck out. Okay, whenever anything happens in a fight, he gets his creepy fucking smile on his face, and I'm just like, you are a sadist, you weirdo motherfucker. Like, all right. Either way, as far as the fight goes, I think this is another changing of the guard. Honestly, now does Miranda Maverick be a champion? I don't think so. I'm sure she believes she will be, but I think she's got all the tools to beat Rose. It's just, what does Rose have left, right? That'll be the interesting part to me, because last time we saw her, she did not look that impressive at all. Let me see if I can pull up her record real quick. I think it was a Tracy Cortez fight. No, Aaron Blanchfield decisioned Rose.
Blanchfield, right?
Miranda could Blanchfield Rose. Honestly, she could, right? And then she fought Rose fought Tracy Cortez in Denver, short notice, and the weight cut was a motherfucker for Tracy, and she beat her by decision. She couldn't finish her. Okay. Do I think she could finish Miranda? No. Do I think she will? No. Do I think Miranda finish her? No. It's gonna be one of those, like,
it's gonna be a women's MMA fight.
Look, man, there's no live tweets this weekend, folks. I got a anniversary dinner to go to on Saturday night. I will be doing graphics and watching the fights and recapping all that. But I will not be here going, Rose punches, Miranda punches, Miranda shoots, no dice, Miranda takedown, for fucking 3 rounds. Like, I'm not doing that, right? That being said, folks, who knows, man? Rose, I would love to go back to the days when Rose was doing flying arm bars back in Invicta. God, that was so dope. She did that in Invicta, cried her ass off, and after the fight was mad as hell. Not because of anything in the fight, because she was just like, I trained for months for this shit, and it ended in like a minute and a half or whatever it was. It was hilarious. But I would love to see that, Rose turn the clock back. I just don't see it happening.
I am going to take Rose by decision in this one. You're going to go Miranda by decision. But I do think this is going to be an interesting matchup stylistically here, grappler, striker. Speaking of grappler versus striker, that solidifies this matchup moving down the card as well in the middlegate division. We've got Edmund Shabazz.
Do you agree with the odds here? Because it is Rose as a
yeah, I do. I do agree with the odds, but I think that you brought up some points about, changing of the guard and, the grappling of Miranda Maverick. I think it could be an upset. Maybe you put a few shekels on it, but I like Rose.
Yeah, Rose with hair was a beast. She really was. She was a lot more fun too. As soon as she cut her hair off, it got boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, And Rogan at the stare downs is creepy. Yeah, if he ever shows up. You know what I love? Real quick, I know we're late as fuck and everything. We'll get it done, folks. I'm sorry. But these articles that sites put out, like Rogan's back for UFC, whatever the fuck. I sit here going like, who gives a shit? You got to stop with that. I get it. You want
commentary, Eddie. I thought Rogan did a good job on Saturday. I did not think Daniel Cormier did a good job. I think that
commentary.
A lot of the time when you get Rogan and Daniel Cormier together, John Anik isn't necessarily that powerful force that can get the guys to stop, chit chatting with one another and joking around. It's just like, I don't know if the attention is fully focused all the time when those two are kind of sitting next to each other, but. Listen, if that was Anik, Rogan, and Bisping, I think it'd be a little bit different dynamic. But anyway, coming back to this card with UFC Atlanta, Edmund Shabazian takes on Andre Petroski, striker versus grappler. Edmund has really struggled with defending the takedowns in the past. It's been the kryptonite to his game. But Andre Petroski has struggled with strikers. He got knocked out by Michel Pereira in under a minute. But Edmund Shabazian's been taken down and submitted and taken down and grinded to victories multiple occasions. I'm going to take Andre Petroski in this one by decision. If he gets a submission, I wouldn't be surprised. Petroski to me is really a poor man's middleweight Tito Ortiz. He is a big, stocky guy. He's got good ground and pound. He's got the strongman chokes. He can get you with a front headlock. He can get you with a rear naked choke. He can get you with an arm triangle. I don't necessarily see him pulling off Kimura's arm bars and triangles like some, other flexible guys can do. But he is a great grappler, and I think he's going to be able to take Edmund Shabazian down in this one. If he can't take him down, obviously the momentum switches over to Edmund immediately.
Yeah, I think Edmund's he's done a lot of improvements over Extreme Couture, right? And so I think he's going to do great in this fight. That being said, Petroski is just he won't go away. He's a guy that you can hit as hard as you can, as long as you want to, as many times as you want to, and he won't go away. It's really Kenflo has so many issues. Anyway, but yeah, that threw me off like a motherfucker. Outside of, look, man, Edmund's. I think Edmund wins this by decision. I think it is what it is. But did you see? And I want to say it was Jake that did the interview where Petroski was talking about how he used to be high for every fight and didn't want to go to the UFC because he get drug tested. Like,
damn.
That's a tough motherfucker right there, dude. I was just like, yo, that's fucking wild. That being said, the fight, as far as the fight goes, I mean, like I said, striker, grappler, whoever's better at what they do wins. That's basically what it is. We'll find out how good Andre's wrestling really is. If Edmund can stop his takedowns, maybe not that good on the wrestling like we thought he was.
Yeah.
Vice versa, maybe Edmund's not as good as we thought he was. Maybe a fun one.
Somebody's going to get exposed in this matchup, in my opinion.
Badly. You're right, 100%.
But moving down the card here, we have a couple more matchups that we want to get to really quick. Cody Garbrandt, former bantamweight champion, is going to take on Brazilian veteran Ronnie Barcelos. I like Garbrandt in this one. I think Barcelos has been chinned recently. He had that bad loss to Umar Nurmagomedov. I've got Cody Garbrandt in this one by knockout. I think he's going to get a TKO victory here in round 3. What are the odds in this one, though, Eddie?
The odds are -185 for Barcelos.
Ooh, Cody Garbrandt is an underdog. So they think that Barcelos is going to be able to take this one to the ground. He did just pick up a win last time he fought, though, and was impressive doing so.
Yeah, I could give a shit about this fight. Honestly, I do not care. There's one thing I do care about, all right? And I need to know. The internet, I need to know if this is real. Because if this is real, if this is not real, fuck you, internet. Is this real? I need to know.
Whoa!
I need to know if this is a real. I don't think it's a real photo. I'm pretty sure this is very much photoshopped.
That's got to be photoshopped.
99% of me hopes it's fucking real because it'd be hilarious if it was real.
He's got the money to go to Turkey.
I'm saying. So internet, I'm sure this is not real. 99% of me hopes it is real because it would make me laugh. That's about the only thing I care about in this fight. If this is real or not. You know what I mean?
Eddie, I gotta get your opinion before we get off here. Russell Brand, PFL ceremonial weigh-in.
He laid on that canvas like paint. What was it? Drop me like one of your French girls. Like
it was like a photo shoot for Vogue.
Yeah, and Don stood there with his hands like this, like I don't want to put this on the internet like that. I'll tell you afterwards, but yeah, I'll tell you later. Go ahead.
All right, fight fans, we're going to bring you all the recap coverage from UFC Atlanta, from PFL Nashville, any breaking news.
Real quick. Plenty of MMA this week, 100%. Tomorrow night, PFL. Friday night, LFA 210. Lance Lawrence Christian Natividad interview with us over Cageside Press. Please check those guys out. Lance Lawrence is the neck snatcher. This dude's a psychopath. When he gets on, especially when he gets on the ground, he's fucking scary. And Christian Natividad, younger brother, I think of Kevin Natividad from the UFC, back in the UFC days. This dude can crack. He's ready to fight. He's undefeated against Jose Sandoval, who is a nasty, nasty, nasty striker coming out of Mexico. Gonna be dope. And of course, UFC Atlanta on Saturday. And of course, we had 2 people at UFC this last weekend, not officially, but Patrick Dana has joined the team over at Cageside Press. Shout out to Patrick. Major addition to the team. And yeah, so it turns out and we're picking up all our friends now. So this is gonna be a fun little group that we're having over. So welcome to Patrick to the team as well. And
yeah,
dude,
hey, first ever covered event in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I met him and Dylan Napoleon. They tagged along with Dylan Rush, and to see his career grow to where it is today, great to work with him once again. And Pat Dana does incredible work.
Well, I just realized like a little while ago before we started the show, I was like, that whole front row that was at Bellator 300 is not part of Cageside.
I know, man.
We're good though. Hey, we got the best team in the world. I don't give a shit. I'll put us up against
anybody. You see people were calling us the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, he's like, oh, was it Phil? Phil was the one that was like, this is like if KD went to the Warriors, and I was like, and because Pat was like, what do you think? He called me Steve Kerr, former Wildcat. I'm also a former Wildcat, U of A. And I was just like, first of all, bear down Arizona, fuck Golden State, go Suns.
Congratulations to Pat Dana coming on. Check out those guys from the LFA coming up and our interviews with them. We'll bring you everything from UFC Atlanta, UFC or PFL Nashville, and any breaking news that comes out, fight announcements coming into next week. Thanks for joining us, fight fans, and we'll catch you next Wednesday at 7:00.